Welcome to I Have HIV, a podcast dedicated for people living with HIV, their friends, and family. A Paws Impact and Antonio T. Smith Jr. production. Welcome to I Have HIV. Damaged to speak. We lie here naked. Yeah, you worry about me.
We are currently still living in a pandemic with HIV. HIV has not gone anywhere since the 80s, and we have to bring it to the front. We need to reach zero new transmission, and the only way that we're able to achieve this is by bringing it back to the forefront of the community and bringing different voices of the community and making sure that this while this disease is very manageable, it's not curable. So what we need to do is we need to prevent it from happening. And there's several new drugs that are out there, and we're going to be talking about what PrEP is, what all these different medications that are out there now that you can control. You can take it to prevent 99%. You will basically have a 99% chance of not getting HIV. Its effectiveness is 99.9%. And so nothing in life is more than 99%. And so I am living with HIV is very important because right now no one's talking about what HIV is. And no one's really discussing, yes, we know that it's out there. Yes, we know that our Black and brown brothers and sisters are dying from this. Our trans community is affected. Our LGBT people are more affected. We have to bring back the conversation to the community and have the community be involved in the conversation.
But it's really important that we have to start talking about healthcare because that is part of the healthcare system that mental health. We talk about, I just joined the Ryan White external committee, and they were saying that HIV does have some kind of we have a protected class kind of because our funding comes from Congress. Diabetes doesn't really come from Congress. Cancer doesn't come from Congress. There is no particular funding for anything other than HIV that comes from directly Congress approves money for HIV. And so this is where they want is to be able to get access to PrEP through this new grant that the current administration has put out to. But I don't know how well that would work with people not having to get I can get the medication, but I can't get the blood work done. So it's like
That's
it's like a catch-22
No,
issue.
the medication for me is free.
Correct. Yes, but
I can't get the blood work right.
Yes.
But,
and you got to realize that it's not about. It's also increasing PrEP users. The rate of STDs is rising.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we have to talk about that. So when you take your PrEP, they won't get HIV, but there's still the risky sex that's being happening, and people not going and getting treated and tested for STD. And that's the thing about.
Can we say condomness?
Yes, we can. We're having
condomness. I don't like the term risky.
Yeah, I don't like risky. Yeah, I'm trying to use language that is risky, but everything is risky. You walk outside.
Yeah, okay, everything is risky.
Right. Yeah. So just condomless sex. There we go. That's not happening. And rather, it's all about a decision you make. So, you be responsible and you go and get yourself tested. And, and there's not being stigmatized. Many people will live with STD and just be embarrassed about it and don't get treated. And that's where the stigma comes in at. So.
Well, I want to.
Address our president, yes.
Yes, our president.
Yes, as long as it's not a presidential question.
No,
I want to stay on the subject.
Yeah, no, I'm interested in what it would look like to. How are you centering marginalized communities in your
I was just Googling while you was talking.
Mm-hmm.
I something said, well, I want to Google how many people were affected by the opioid crisis. And I just saw it was 2015, it was 2 million people. I was like, man, it should have been like 50, 100 million the way the media, which with respect to that. And then I already know the numbers on HIV. And when you brought a thought process to my mind. Okay, Congress funded, but why is the opioid crisis getting far more media attention than the AIDS? Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Okay, all right. The poverty is the main issue. Period. Point blank. It's the main issue to your question. Every single thing centers around poverty. Now, the company that I have has a $22 minimum wage, so I'm already fighting this marginalized issue. Right? I'm talking about the janitor. 22. Yeah. $22. Plug that in real quick. $22. So I'm answering your question with facts. Like what I'm really doing. $22 minimum wage. Women get 1 year paid maternity leave because it's absolutely stupid to rip a child from her mother. I mean, from its mother, right? They don't make sense. So these are issues, the real issues that we gotta fix when it comes to these marginalized communities that are impacted, because poverty is a real issue. So we gotta stop giving out jobs that make $7.25 an hour. At least that's here in Texas, right? It's Texas talk, because it's not a job. It takes according to CNBC. It takes $93,000 a year to live comfortably in a metropolitan area. $94,000 if you're renting. So anything less than that is the issue, right? You understand what I'm saying? So we need to absolutely fix wages, and we can do all that without raising taxes. Man, my whole life is surrounded by creating income-producing assets that pay for my liabilities. The government can do the same very thing. We do it with fees and taxes and all this stuff. We can take, for instance, we can fix student loans by putting a carbon emissions fee on every corporation or business that is going past the accepted carbon emissions rate. Charge them all that the same way they do overdraft fees in banks. Same way. They're doing it, or I know y'all old enough to remember Blockbuster Friday nights. You understand, right? Rewind, be kind.
Be kind, rewind.
Yeah, that's it, right? So the same way we charging fees, we can take those. You make billions of dollars charging corporations that. Then turn right around, take all that money, throw it into education and take care of every last student loan without ever raising a tax. And you can turn around and do the same thing for every HIV problem, every marginalized problem that we have. We can do it, but we won't, because there is a system in place that does not want certain people. And by certain, I'm way past black and white. I'm now talking about, it's most certainly brown people, right? But it's past that now, because debt slavery has no respect of color. As long as you got a job or you're in debt, you got a mortgage, they got you too. The only way they gonna care is if, as long as I'm in the hole, you driving the truck. That's what, but they're carrying extent. Don't pass that, because all of us, not me anymore, but in debt slavery. So we gotta fix this marginalized stuff, man, by literally putting money in people's pockets, because poverty is the root of all evil. Period. Point blank. And one thing you said earlier too about allies, well, you said it, but I just thought about it. We got to take some credit. You were saying, the problems you got with the community. There's a problem with the ally community that I would have to liken, and this is going to be very bad. I'm about to lose more voters right now. It's going to be very bad.
You're losing a lot.
I'm losing a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? But this is Real Talk 100. I can't be fake on Real Talk 100, right? Can't be fake on Paws Radio. Yeah. You have a lot of I'm finna do white and black, and I'm finna do allies and gay. I'm about to remember the toss test with this is to that and that is to this. A lot of white people say I'm not racist. It's fine. I'm not finna do that on this radio show. But you still was in the crowd while the hangman was hanging me on the tree. That makes you more guilty because you let it be acceptable. Well, allies are equally or more guilty than the people persecuting y'all because we let it be acceptable.
Silence is violence.
It is.
Yeah.
Right? The truth is we let it be acceptable to where y'all can get all the stuff that happens, and we ain't got time to get into this show, and we gotta change that culture. It just is what it is. So.
I'm inviting you to the real game.
Yes, we need to show that, you know, like there's different politicians that are out there who are talking what we are talking about, that are listening to what we're listening about, you know, that are having the discussions that we're having the discussions about. You know, a lot of people when we bring in candidates, they're, you know, yes, they'll give me an answer, they'll weed around the question, but you know, like we need specific what's going to happen with this, what's actually going to happen with this, because we know, we've been telling you this already. I don't need you to tell me what's happening in your community. You should already know what's happening in my community. This is already, you know, it's nothing new. This has been going on for a long time. So what are you going to do? How do you plan on fixing the community? So that's why I love Antonio.
Yeah, everybody got somebody gay in their family. Man, that's been happening since I was 4, with my knowledge, right? My number one selling T-shirt online, like on my presidential website, is I got 2 for LGBT community, and literally a woman holding a flag, a rainbow flag. It's been on my. It's like go to AntonioTSmithJr.com, and I am open with my whole presidential candidacy has been largely about, I call it Rise to the 97%, like stop the persecution of what we call gays, right? It's far more than that, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's on there. I'm public with this. This is, like, it'll be hard pressed to find a track record of me not fighting for that because it's stupid. For one, I don't fight horizontal battles. I mean, we got to keep it real here, right? Ain't nobody gay ever stop money from coming out of my pocket. Right. It's never happened. I've never had nobody roll up on me and be like, you black, die, and it was gay. It never happened. I never had a Muslim roll up on me and have a problem. You understand, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. My issue is a vertical issue of people who don't want me to have money because I look like what, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
These horizontal battles ain't got, man, look. Ain't nobody, and you allow me that colloquialism, please. Ain't nobody out here in y'all community bothering me. This never happened. But we damn sure bother you as much as we possibly can. Right? And we just gonna have to accept that, man. I'm sorry.
Can we talk about women's rights and how, you know, like, there's real.
Now
like,
you won't be acting up.
Yes. You know, right now, women have no power over their bodies. And I just don't understand how we are in 2019 and women still don't have control over their own bodies to say when or not they should have an abortion.
I am not surprised, okay? And I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's wrong. With Alabama and it was another state that abortion. First off, if you got a penis, shut up. I'm just gonna tell you this straight up, right? What should happen is women, the same way we got NATO, right, a coalition of countries, we need to have a coalition of women telling women what to do with their bodies, period. It don't make sense that well, it ain't me, because it ain't me. They actually look like you. It ain't me. Right. Yeah, right? Telling women what to do with their bodies. But here's the deal. The reason I'm not surprised, because the black man, 3/5 person, got the right to vote before the white woman. This is in American history. So I'm totally not surprised that women don't have rights over their bodies, because this is folk trying to control their wives. But remember, me as 3/5 person, they debated if I even had a soul. And then said, but you get to vote first. You sleeping with your wife and she can't vote. But your property can vote. So ain't no you shouldn't even be surprised. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that is the American way. We're just gonna have to eat that, right? We're gonna have to eat the fact that women have never been treated right in America. Period. I dare you. You can say "Make America Great" all you want to. That is for white men. That ain't got nothing to do with white women. That has no. White women do not embody or benefit from making America great again, at all. Not at all. The most beautiful thing I saw was the most beautiful thing I saw. Right when Trump got president, all them women marched. It was fantastic. It was a great show of solidarity. And then they went back to their oppressive husbands. That's facts, right? I mean, okay. I just want to make sure that I'm still living in the real world, right?
So, how do you plan on giving women their rights? Will you pack the Supreme Court? Do you believe in adding more justices to the Supreme Court, and that way we can pass laws to making sure that we can have women the right to vote, making sure that or having the women the right to choose, whatever the case is, just over the control of their own body, and I think that's how specific and period as it should get, and that's the end of story. What's your views on packing the Supreme Court, or how would you making sure that if we don't have the Congress, or if Congress is like, no, Democratic Congress could be, say, we don't have, this is not our fight, or we don't really want to go through this process yet, and we'll take it up on the back burner. That should be a core issue, because women don't have the equal respect right now. Also, equal pay. It takes a person of color. I think it's like until you're just this year, like it's August or September before you guys make it for the next year. Oh, yeah. So you guys are just barely making what a white person made now, just for last year. So you guys are a whole year, and women are even further behind. Yep. So when we're talking about equality, we also need to start talking about equity. Yep. Because we don't have equity anymore. We've been fighting for equality for so long that we are no longer talking about the equity behind it, because just because we are all equal doesn't mean that we all have the same benefits. Doesn't mean that the benefits that apply to me should apply to you. It should be so, like, go ahead, yes, please.
I'm going to work backwards. I was putting everything you said in my memory files. Let's talk about equality first. Equality is a bunch of trash. I'm going to tell you that as a president candidate of the United States, equality is trash. Because equality does not exist nowhere in nature. And as long as you keep saying equality, you'll never have equity. Period. Right? There's not an equal snowflake, equal blade of grass, equal animal, equal nothing. Not an equal HIV virus, not an equal T cell. There's no equality nowhere in nature. The only way you achieve what we call equality is somebody got to give up something. Period. And if you are not willing to give up something, you would never achieve equity. So who is in power must give up power to then give the weak more power. That's in every sacred text. That's in every single great teacher that's ever lived on planet Earth, right? How the King James Bible said, the strong must bear the infirmities of the weak, right? So you can't say equality and then try to actually have equity, because the two can't coexist together. They just cannot. Big problem with the church. If I make grace equal, grace will stop. Period. I paid your rent last year. Can't do it. Paid your rent 2 months ago. Can't do it. No. Grace is never meant to be equal. It is absolutely meant to be unequal, unfair, unmerited, and you're not supposed to justify or put righteousness or any rules to grace. That's how you get equity, when you take legality out of it. That's number one. Number two, you asked some really good questions. As far as the Supreme Court goes, you had three things jumbled up in there. For one, I take parties completely out of that. That's really our issue. So I have no choice. I would normally tell you we don't need no more Supreme Court justices because it's already messed up. But at this point, unless you add more, you can't fix the problem. You really can't, because as long as someone is in president, one of the first things the first thing a president does is use his 100 days, the honeymoon period. The second thing that president does after the honeymoon period is over, immediately appoints a Supreme Court justice if he can, because ain't no she's in there, right? If he can. And of course it's going to be matching their party. So now if you gerrymander in districts, in which we are, and if you are making sure that voting is not online, because if you have voting on, we put a man on the moon, but we don't have voting online. Why? We vote for American because the people who would vote online don't vote for the grand old party.
Exactly.
You know, it gets better. That's my recommendation. And go get tested. If you're afraid, go with a friend. There's support groups all over Facebook. There's support groups all over in the LGBT community. You don't have to be gay in order to be in the support group. There's several heterosexual only support groups. We want to make sure that there is that you have hope. And if you don't know anybody, contact me, reach out to me. I will guide you through. If you're not in Houston, we will FaceTime me. That you can FaceTime me the entire time there, and I will walk you through the process. You know, we are in this together, and I want to make sure that we end the stigma of HIV. And we can only do this is by addressing it head on. And I want to make sure that people feel safe and they feel loved. And, you know, when it was super hard for me to tell my family and friends. And if you don't feel like talking to me, then I can reach out to another provider. We will get you connected to somebody who will make sure that you are safe, first of all. And second of all, is make sure that we're going to know your status. And then once you know your status, either we're going to get you on PrEP if you're sexually active, and we're going to recommend it to you, or if you are HIV positive, then we will get you on drugs immediately. And the drugs now today are not the drugs that were 20 years from now. My doctor is very conscious of my liver. My doctor is very conscious of my bones. She wants to make sure that I stay healthy. And those are the medications that are out there now. So there's so many types of medications that will help you. But the first thing we have to do is to get tested.
My name is Antonio T. Smith Jr. In 2005, I had a close family member die to HIV. And to be honest with you, I'm still probably not even supposed to know it. In fact, the only reason I know it is because an angry family member said it in anger and it slipped out. And that's how I found out. And that's why I'm so passionate about this podcast, because I'm tired of people like me, family who would support and who would have loved on my cousin. She died alone. She died in the hospital bed completely alone because I didn't know, and because I was too busy playing basketball than being with my cousin. And I'm very passionate about what Josh Mica does. He wants to change the world, and I hope all of you contact him. And that's why I'm so extremely passionate about this podcast. But I suffer every day that I let my cousin die alone, because 2005 made me an ally, but I shouldn't have to go through a death like that to become an ally. All of us should be allies. That's my story, and that's why Josh is doing this podcast, and that's why we're here.
Now I finally build it back up, 'cause I've had enough. It's a minefield in my mind, and I'm headed for destruction. Mama, tell me it's alright before I turn to nothing.